Good afternoon or early evening, and greetings from what was about a 42-degree day inside there. Very, very unpleasant to work in, but work I did. First thing to point out, I mentioned in the last video, King Chrome. Thank you very much, Matt, the local rep, for passing on some promotional material there. And again, thanks to Andy and the team at Kawasaki Australia marketing department for passing along the Kawasaki banner. They look really, really sharp. Now, quick update on the workshop. This one has moved on a little bit more. So I mentioned in the last video that there's a body panel clip that needed to go in there. You can't see it, but it is in. Trust me, take my word for it. We got the seat latching properly. So I'd ordered some used single seat latches. And the problem with the other ones was those rubber feet right there weren't seating where they're supposed to do, which is right there, or right there, depending on your rider height. And because I'm tall, I'm up here. So they weren't seating properly. And with these replacements, these are used, but work just fine. We now get the seat to sit down properly, which is excellent, which means I can put the seat latch on and we can button up the whole, sitting there on the seat without sliding off and becoming a statistic in some accident book. I can't do this one-handed, I don't think. One more try. Oh, there we go. So you'll see right there, the rubber feet, they now sit all the way down, and they weren't doing that before. So it was holding the whole seat up by about 20 mil. So that's all good. So tomorrow we'll fit the seat lock, which is that two-piece mechanism right there. That's good. You'll notice also I've pulled all the stuff away from the wall. That's two things. I wanted to hang the King Chrome banner. Thanks again, Matt. Thanks, King Chrome. But also we're now to the point where we're going to start organizing this Z900 A4, the 76, all the bodywork, exhaust and everything else. Two-seat conversion kit has already been sold, which is good. It's going to require a civilian mudguard bowding cable and latch, which is on the way from Motorworks in the UK, so thank you very much, team at Motorworks. The 77 Z1000 A1, which is this beautiful beast in front of you, now has a new triple tree. Everything is straight as a die. Very, very happy about that. Also, a little update on the Speedo issue. The drive mechanism, which is essentially a cog that sits behind that plate, that plate holds in place and then engages this drive mechanism here. That was gummed up and not working properly. So it's all been taken apart while we had the front end off, pulled all that apart, serviced it, cleaned it, greased it, popped it all back in, verified that the cable's seating properly and routed it correctly up to the Speedo. We'll find out if my work actually works, but I certainly know for sure that the drive mechanism, the toothed gear that drives it, the cable and the output are all working as designed, so fingers crossed, eh? What remains on this one is button everything up, take it for a road test, change the center stand because that one's bent, as I mentioned. The leg just comes over far enough, it bumps into the exhaust. Quite annoying. I mean, not life-threatening, not by any stretch of the imagination, but is annoying and is incorrect for this bike, so we're going to fix that. And then we're going to look at the valve seal in here. So Mark and I will be pulling the top end of the engine off. Slightly annoying to have to do that, but it's got to go out the door being safe. So, and it's also got to go out the door with everything working. So this is too nice a bike to have anything, oil leaks, drips, whatever. And in general, these bikes are far too nice, including that one, which we'll get to in just a sec. So want to make sure that that's perfect. So that's the 77 Z1000 A1. Calipers are in the front on the A1. So this is all correct for this bike. And its slightly newer cousin over here, slightly smaller and slightly newer, as I mentioned in numerous videos, painted in the same color scheme as the Z1000, which in fact is a 1974 Z900 color scheme, but let's not get too particular. This little 650, same owner, had us do the color scheme for the tank, the side covers, and the ducktail here in the same 74 scheme. So this is going to look absolutely brilliant. Things left to do on this are hook up the electrical system, make sure everything works. I'm sure it will. Find a seat lock. I found two. I'm going to fiddle with those. They're down there. right there. So 2 bodies, 1 lock barrel will make it work. Fixed up the indicators, so these were a mismatch of all sorts of nonsense, so all these need to do is just be tightened up. Tension the chain, put some new tensioners on the back because those look a bit tatty, they're letting the side down, and change the exhaust hangers out. Those are stock exhaust hangers. We're going with this used 4-into-1. They're very hard to find. It was almost impossible to find the stock exhausts on these, which are 4-into-2. In other words, 2 here go out 1 pipe and 2 on that side go out the other pipe. But they're almost impossible. I think they were made of sugar cubes, and then the first big rain, they just rotted out. So the 4-into-1 is a very popular modification that's been done basically since the bikes were new. This one is a used one. It will clean up. We've already started just having a test here. This is all surface crap, grease, tar, road dirt. You can see it's coming off on my finger. So the idea is we're going to put a degreaser on here. We'll get all of the gunk off the surface, stuff like that, which is where it nips under the engine. Unfortunately, that's not going to come off, but the headers will polish up. So stay tuned for an update on that one. It's going to look really good. But the 650's front end, so what's left to do on this bit is vapor blast the fork stanchion. So Doug at OCD Vapor Blasting will work his magic on that. Thank you, Doug. And they always come back looking magnificent. So basically means that this bike will have the front end pulled off, which is a relatively straightforward thing to do. We did a bunch of times, just done it on that Z1000. Pull that off, break the forks down, send the stanchions off, get them blasted. When they come back squeaky clean, basically reassemble it. It's a working front end. Nothing needs to be fixed. Speedo works, shocks, the fork springs are good, brakes all work, etc., etc., etc. So really, we're just doing this for a cosmetic thing to match the fantastic work that Doug did on the engine cases. Very little required after that. Tank requires plumbing. That's the petcock down there. Side covers are already done. We stick the badges on. Rubber grommets are already on the frame. And as I say, tension the chain up, put the chain guard on. Once all of that comes together and we've got the clutch adjusted, then we'll pop the exhaust on, get that all nipped up, and it's go time. We'll stick some go juice in there, crank her over, make sure no leaks or anything like that, and then she should fire up. So very exciting. This is probably in the next couple of weeks, I'd say. By the time Doug comes back, we can even get the bike cranking over without having the fork stanchions back. So there's no reason why this shouldn't be done in another couple of weeks, maybe less. The intention is to have that one and that one finished at the same time, so the owner can come down, test drive both of them, and jump into his van with a giant smile on his face. So there you go. So that's all that. The final bracket for that bike, which we're missing, should be here this week, which means I can put the radio box back on the back of the bike. And just on this, I mentioned in the previous video a couple of weeks ago, we had 2 partial toolkits that came with this bike. And I was just going through paperwork in the office and found that I had not only an original owner's manual, which is not for this bike, but doesn't have any writing in it, but that is the correct manual. It is the K26 model, which is that. But I also have a police version of it, which has the supplementary police riders equipment information in it, a bunch of servicing dealer stuff. So that will be retained here at the workshop. And this one, when we sell it and buy the New South Wales Police version of that K26, we'll have a complete documentary set. While we're in the office, some changes in here, just ignore the empty boxes that's shipping. Yamaha parts ready to go over there. We've got a small display of New South Wales Police equipment taking shape over here. This is sort of temporary storage and all sorts of stuff. Copser tops on the wall to wall. Also here we've got the chrome for the Honda ready to go off. I'm still waiting on the tacho to arrive from America. The Honda box, which I mentioned, that's the air box, it got stripped. All of those parts are going off to be blasted and painted glossy black, which is the correct Honda color. And then this is another project we're working on for one of our customers who's got a 1979 Kawasaki Z1000 Mark II A3A, so very similar to the one that we did that Ross picked up. probably 6 months ago now. He's keeping the bike very, very original. So what you actually see here are re-chromed indicator buckets. One stem, the rest of them are on the way here. The single wire is correct for the rear. We've got all the mounting kit, collars, rubbers, gaskets, etc., etc. And we're very lucky that in Japan, I have a contact who managed to find 2 brand new front indicator buckets, complete, brand new in the box, sold them as a pair. They're a 2-wire and they have a very small connector, not a big bullet connector like that. So really, really exciting. Those are his handlebar controls over there. That has nothing to do with him, nor does that, and nor does that. But all of this is his, so his bike's going to be absolutely mint. The next time he's in, I'll double check if it's okay, that, you know, let you guys know about the project, but it is going to be absolutely fantastic when it's done. So that is a quick update there. As I mentioned, the Z900 stuff, Z900 A4, the R1200 RT, the dual seat conversion kit for the R1200. And then in the back of the shop, much more bits and pieces going on here. So we've almost got the wheels assembled here. So all this stuff is now starting to come together. New bearings, all packed and ready to go in. Fork extensions there, we're just waiting for the actual fork tubes to come back from hard chroming. And then basically that all goes in there and we mount the engine, which is right here. So that's all we're waiting on is fork extension. As soon as she can stand on her own 2 legs, then we pop the engine in with the special crane that we got earlier. Lots of other updates in here. We will get to that later, and we have a very special guest coming. I'm not going to tell you about it right now, but there is a YouTube channel that we follow very closely because he's a gentleman that's very much after our own heart, preserving things and repairing things. He's based in Germany and has a very, very interesting channel as well. And he'll be with us for a couple of days towards the end of the month. I'll tell you more once he's a little bit closer to this neighborhood. But in the meantime, tons of stuff going on. Z650 engines all coming together. Lots of progress. Even though it looks chaotic, trust me, there is a lot of progress going on. So very, very happy with where things are. But that's the exciting one. I'll be riding that. We're getting some signage for that one. So I can't wait to throw my leg over a K26 model, 2006 BMW R1200 RTP, reunited with lights, etc., etc. That should be a blast to ride. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. It's been a very, very long, very hot day. I'm going to head home and have a very well-deserved shower. So one final shot of the R1200 RTP, and I will catch you in the next video. Stay cool, everybody. Cheers.